Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to all of you. My name is Katherine Newman, and I have the distinct honor to serve as the Interim Chancellor of this distinguished university. It's a pleasure for me to welcome you, especially to welcome some of our distinguished guests, Secretary of Education Jim Pizer, who serves also on our Board of Trustees, Mayor Walsh, whose support for the construction of our new residence hall was absolutely essential. Senator Nick Collins, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today, but who is a steadfast champion of UMass Boston, and along with many other legislative leaders, stepped up to provide the necessary funding for this project. We are also very honored today to have with us Representative Russell Holmes, Councilor Frank Baker, Councilor Michael Flaherty, Jim Brett, the President of the New England Council, the City of Boston Fire Commissioner Joseph Fine, Sheriff of Suffolk County Steve Tompkins, and from the Brockton City Council, Ann Beauregard. A very special welcome as well to the members of our Board of Trustees who are sitting right up here in front. Mary Burns, Bob Epstein, Imari Paris-Jeffries, and our own UMass Boston student trustee, Sarah Tariq. Also to our Board of Visitors, our alumni, and our Community Point neighbors, including our local high schools, we'd like to welcome you all to this joyful celebration this afternoon. The leadership of the business and civic communities who recognize the critical importance of public higher education deserve our thanks, as do all the citizens of the Commonwealth whose hard-earned tax dollars support the essential mission of public higher education. We would not be standing here today if it were not for the tireless advocacy of President Marty Meehan. He argued strenuously that a majority-minority campus in the heart of the education capital of the country deserved the same opportunities as all other Tier 1 research universities. So UMass Boston thanks you, Marty, for that fighting spirit, and commends our Board of Trustees for supporting your vision. The board joined with the UMass Building Authority, our partners at Provident Resources Group, the Capstone Development Group, including Elkis Manfredi, the architects, and Shawmut Construction, whose vision for this residence hall is now a stunningly beautiful reality. Sodexo, our campus dining partner, played a major role in the design process and will provide financial support to the dining commons. In partnership with the university, they will run and operate our first ever all-you-can-eat dining facility under the leadership of our very own executive chef, Joanne Legrand. Joanne, are you here somewhere? She's fabulous. She is great. You know, as a new chancellor, fortunate to preside over a beautiful campus poised on the water's edge, just a stone's throw from this incredibly vibrant city, I'm well aware of all those who came before me who had to suffer through years and years of dirt mounds, of construction noise, of labyrinthian roadways that snaked all around the campus, and the constant pressure of difficult budget decisions. So we need to give credit where credit's due. Hats off to Chancellor Keith Motley, who could not be here today. Keith is celebrating his mother's 85th birthday in her hometown. And to my immediate predecessor, Chancellor Barry Mills, who stepped up when called and laid the foundation for renewal of this campus that we are poised to undertake. Thank you, Barry. I would like to ask my colleague, the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Gail DeSabatino, and her staff to stand, please. Would you please stand, Gail, wherever you are? And staff, please stand up so everyone can recognize you. There she is. You know, we use terms like inclusion a great deal on this campus, but Gail and her colleagues gave an entirely new meaning to the term by the building of this residence hall. alongside our spectacular multicultural 31 resident assistants that they recruited. The Student Affairs Division has developed a vibrant program of clubs, of activities, of academic engagements, both for the new resident students and for our commuting students. And bringing those two communities together is the essence of inclusion. So thank you, Vice Chancellor DeSabatino and colleagues. I would similarly like to recognize Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management, Lisa Johnson, and her staff. Lisa, where are you? Staff, please. These fine colleagues recruited all of our new residents, 1,100 of them, and worked to ensure that they had the financial support they needed to live here. So thank you, Vice Chancellor Johnson. The distinguished faculty of UMass Boston, the staff that works alongside them, and above all, the students on our campus, past and present, commuter and resident, they are the heart and soul of this institution. And that includes our friends and colleagues who just a few minutes ago, holding their signs of protest aloft outside, whose advocacy for their concerns is celebrated by our common commitment to the freedom of speech. We are welcoming all of them. And last, but absolutely not least, we recognize the women and men who built these beautiful buildings, the labor unions that represent them, the construction companies and architects who developed the project, and the public safety and environmental watchdogs that make sure that everyone was properly protected. If you want to get a sense, come back in a couple of weeks and you will see that the pictures of our construction workers, 3 big ones, are along that hallway, and they will remain there forever so that everyone remembers who made these buildings possible. The UMass Boston Project Labor Agreement was the first construction project in the history of the Commonwealth to meet both gender and minority participation requirements, and is now a model for the entire state. As a consequence of that agreement, over 500 workers participated in building this building. 9% of those work hours were contributed by women. 35% of those hours came from people of color, and 31% of the labor came from the residents of Boston. That is an incredible achievement. You know, for the first 53 years of this university's history, our students have come to campus, taken classes, participated in student activities, studied in the library, and then piled into their cars and onto the T to go home. Next week, as the students return to campus, more than 1,000 of them will do something no one has ever done in the history of this campus. They will live right here. And let's take a minute to celebrate how the leadership of this campus, long before I got here, planned to ensure that those 1,000 students, some 40% of the freshman class, would be truly representative of the campus community. UMass Boston is unique within our large public university system in the proportion of its students that come from low-income households. They are working students who sacrifice every day to support their education. For those students to take part in this residential experience, it was necessary to commit significant financial resources. Accordingly, $1.4 million was committed to campus living grants to make sure these halls would serve a fundamental purpose of integrating our students from all walks of life, including the 23% of them who are Pell eligible and the 43% who are from underrepresented minority groups. We call that putting your money where your mouth is. And we are very proud of having taken this bet on their future. So please, now let's move on in this celebration and welcome the man who helped make it all possible, our fearless leader, President Marty Meehan.
Thank you very much, Catherine. It's great to see so many people here. Let me first of all say that Catherine, as you all know, those of you who are on the campus, has an unbelievable background. She's an incredible scholar. She was a faculty member at Princeton, a dean at Harvard. She was a dean at Johns Hopkins. She was a provost out at UMass Amherst. And we are in good hands with Katherine Newman. And Catherine, I'm getting great feedback from the faculty, from the deans, from everybody on this campus. So thank you very much for your willingness to come and serve in this capacity. Now, I'm coming into this beautiful building and I'm thinking about the night before my first day on the job as president. And I got a call from Keith Motley, and he said, "Hey man, I want you to come over to my campus tomorrow. I'm going to take you on a tour. You're going to meet with my students. And then we're going to talk about housing for UMass Boston, because we've been around for 50 years, and we need housing for our students, and we want you to be our advocate for that." And I was here on that first day, and it was really incredible for me to think about how UMass Boston has grown in terms of developing into a world-class public research university. And I thought it was really interesting to think about the fact that we have 3,400 four-year institutions in America, and only 300 of them are ranked by U.S. News & World Report, nationally ranked Tier 1. And a few years ago, UMass Boston became part of those elite universities. Tier 1, nationally ranked. And if you look at those 300 institutions, the only one of them, the only one in the nation without housing on its campus was UMass Boston. That's unacceptable. So one of the things I did after I got my marching orders from Chancellor Motley was I went and called the Secretary of Education, Jim Pizer. I said, "Jim, I really want to talk about this. We couldn't get this done without the governor signing off on it." And Jim set up a meeting, went over to meet with the governor. At the end of the meeting, the governor said, "I'm going to support this. This seems like the right thing to do for UMass Boston." So I want to acknowledge Secretary Pizer, but also acknowledge the governor, because it wouldn't have happened without him. Why do we want housing for UMass Boston? We know statistically from study after study that students that live on campus, that are part of academic programming on the campus, have a higher likelihood of academic success if they are part of academic programming and living on the campus. It seems to me that a campus in an urban area that is majority minority ought to have that same opportunity for those students to be in an environment that we know statistically will result in higher student success. That should happen here at UMass Boston. That's why we wanted housing here at this great university. Now, there are a lot of people that went to bat with this on the campus, but I want to tell you something. The real success is going to be those students who live here, who have an opportunity to study with other students, who are part of learning communities, who have faculty assigned to work with them so that they ensure a greater likelihood of academic success. That's what the mission of this university is all about. And to walk through the door and see housing, not just another piece, this is world class. So I thank everyone who was involved in designing this. All you have to do is go up to the 12th floor, by the way, and look out and ask yourself, would you want to live here? I would. So this is historic for UMass Boston, but it sets the tone of where we want UMass Boston to continue to grow and continue to achieve more and more and higher success. This is just the beginning of a transformation of this great university, this great urban university that means so much to the city of Boston, to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and indeed the world. So I congratulate everyone involved. I also want to thank another critical partner with us. He's the mayor of the city of Boston, and I will tell you that there isn't a mayor anywhere in America that doesn't fundamentally understand the importance of a public research university to that city. And Marty Walsh gets that. In fact, study after study that the mayor has conducted over the years shows he's interested in affordable housing for Boston. He knows that one of the ways to create more affordable housing opportunities for people in Boston is to get students who live on university, who are attending universities in Boston, to get onto the university campus to free up that housing. Rest assured, this building wouldn't be here without the support of Mayor Marty Walsh. I'm delighted at his partnership with the university to make this university even greater. We intend to continue to work together to make sure UMass Boston achieves even greater success in terms of internships, co-ops, experiential learning opportunities, and interacting with the Boston community. He wouldn't be here without Mayor Walsh. He's a great friend of the university, a great friend of mine. Please welcome the Mayor of the City of Boston, Mayor Walsh.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you for that, and thank you for your leadership in the university system, and thank you for your commitment to UMass Boston. I want to thank you, Chancellor, as well, for doing an incredible job. We met in my office probably about 3 months ago, and we talked about what we want to see here at the university. And I'll tell you, I appreciate all what you've laid, the groundwork you've laid out. I also want to thank a few other people. I want to thank Michael Collins, who was the chancellor here for many, many years, who started the conversation. Kind of the second time started the conversation on the dorms. It started the first time. We won't go there, but the second time it got a little better. Keith Motley came in and did an amazing job and actually sold a vision of this campus to the community. And I see a lot of the community folks here today from Ashmont Adams and Columbia Stanville Civic and different civic associations. Thank you for being here. I want to thank Barry Mills as well, who came in here and for a short period of time did a really good job of getting the campus back on track. We also have elected officials that are here, and I think it's important to thank people. I want to thank Senator Linda Docina-Fori, who was a state rep when this all started down the other end of town and then became the senator for this district. Russell Holmes, Representative Russell Holmes, who's been a champion advocate to make sure that this school continues to be strong and understand the importance of having a public college in the city of Boston, and particularly in Dorchester, and that we continue to serve the neighborhood. So thank you, Representative. Frank Baker. Frank Baker's first involvement was this. He was active in the Civic Association. When the conversation started happening, the two of us were in the back of the room, and we'd be talking about the importance of moving forward. So we're here today. Thank you, Councilor Baker, as well, for being a champion for this school, both as a private citizen, but as a public citizen for that as well. The Board of Trustees, thank you, the staff, the teachers, the faculty, but most of all, the students, past and present. To all the alums in this building, I want to thank you for supporting and being supportive of this school. It's so important for all of us to make sure that UMass Boston is successful. And to the new students that are moving in here, it's pretty awesome. Waterfront property, and you're not paying $1,000 a square foot for it. At least I don't think you are. So I want to thank you and everyone who made this happen over the years. UMass Boston represents the promise for higher education. It puts a college degree, college experience within the reach for the working class kids in the city of Boston and beyond the city of Boston, but for the city of Boston kids. So many young people came here and got their degrees here. Some did it in 4 years, some did it in 6 years, some did it longer than that, but they kept banging away at getting their degree. So it's really exciting about that. The true commitment here needs to be and is to the students, its neighbors, and the future of Boston. I grew up less than a mile from this very building. I remember the vision of this institution. I've told the story before. My father worked on this building when they first built it in 1974. I think he was on this job site. We're also joined by State Representative Jim Brett, former rep, lives across the street as well. And this building was always a part of my life because the first part of my life was my father built that building. And then throughout my life, as a young person, as a civic leader in the Columbia Stanville Civic, as a state representative, and now as mayor, I've been proud to see this building grow and this Boston institution be so successful. There's so many other people. Getting to this point was not easy. Getting to this point was many conversations with the community because the idea of this school as a commuter school, which it still is, was at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. The understanding of a lot of young people living in this building and living in the neighborhoods is also happening. And what Marty Meehan said is absolutely right. When we put our housing plan together, and Sheila Dillon's here today, who put our housing plan together, our housing plan was to create 53,000 units of new housing in the city of Boston by the year 2030. A big component of that housing plan was working with our colleges and universities in Boston and having them to have 100% on-campus housing by the year 2030. And it was important because what happens is it frees up neighborhood housing stock in the different communities. Now, this neighborhood didn't always see the kids living in the neighborhoods, but we're starting to see it in Savin Hill more and more and more and more. And what was happening was these houses that used to be families were being converted by people buying these properties and renting them out to 4 and 5 and 6 students at a crazy amount of money every single year. And what this allows us to do here, between here and Howard Point, is the opportunity to get more kids on campus, living on campus. But that commuter school piece is always going to be there. Why? Because down the street you have JFK UMass Station, and it has access to all over Boston for people to come here. And if you talk to young people, older people, they'll still talk to you. This is very much their option for education, the UMass system. So today is a celebration. Today should be a celebration. It's about growth and about this university growing and expanding, but it's also about understanding and keeping to its core values, because this university is keeping to its core values. And that's something that's really important. I know that's something that when we met with Katherine, that was something that she said. Marty Meehan talked about a majority people of color university. It is so important that we keep that in this neighborhood, in this school in particular. It's important that we see the science building out front that Senator Jack Hart got the money for in the very beginning, that we continue to see the growth happening out there. And Jackie was able to get the money, and Linda kept that tradition going forward, and Nick Collins is going to keep that tradition going moving forward now. So this truly is not just a neighborhood university in the sense of the people that live in the neighborhood. It is for all of us as elected officials as well, that because we're all so proud of this university. I am so off my notes right now, so I'm going to stop talking. It's exciting today. I remember one of my first meetings as the state rep as a rep in this neighborhood, and we were over in the Quinn building, and we were having conversations about the needs for the school. And at that point, the conversation was that the buildings were deteriorating. There's no places for the young people that are coming here to live. The campus life isn't a life because we're connected by bridges and no one really congregated together. And the first thing was the general academic building. The first building that we did, the student center, was the first building that was built. And that started to change the course of culture, what's happening here. After that, general academic 2, 1, 2, parking lots, parking garages, dormitories, seeing that the buildings that we're replacing one building at a time. And I too want to take the last word here to thank the governor, because his commitment, if he didn't show the commitment to this building, first Governor Patrick, who got this project moving forward when we did the project labor agreement that Katherine referenced, and understanding the importance of making sure that project labor agreement was put in place to make sure that the people that worked in this building reflected the community. And all of the buildings that have been on here have fallen under that. The numbers, we call them BRJP, Boston Jobs Residency numbers, were not part of the original process. They were not part of the original program, but they were incorporated into the project labor agreement, and that was the impetus behind making sure that we pushed that agreement forward. So I want to thank Governor Patrick for his support. I want to thank Governor Baker for continuing that great support here at this university, understanding the importance of making sure that our public university system is the best in the country. And he understands that, and we're going to continue to work with him as we move forward, not just here in this campus, but the other campus as well. Even though they're not in Boston, we have to share a little with them. So thank you very much for being here today. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Mayor Walsh. And you know what? This is just the beginning. So, you know, when you cast your eyes over that pump house, that's the next thing I have my mind on. We're going to make something beautiful out of that. And to help us, we have our absolutely fantastic Board of Trustees, and it's a real honor for me to welcome a great friend of the university, Trustee Mary Burns, as she offers remarks on behalf of the UMass Building Authority.
Thank you, everyone. It's a great afternoon here in Dorchester. The weather is perfect to live in oceanfront housing. On behalf of Victor Woolridge and the UMass Building Authority, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. This is a major milestone for UMass Boston and the University of Massachusetts system. The Building Authority, through its Executive Director, Tricia Filippone, has been instrumental in the university's continued success by providing the opportunity to deliver projects through innovative methods, allowing UMass to provide first-class facilities to our students, faculty, and staff so that they may compete with the best institutions in the nation. The P3 Residence Hall, the first of its kind on university land, has been built without impacting the campus's debt, and it's a perfect example of a public-private partnership. It illustrates UMass's and UMass Building Authority's commitment to the continued meteoric success of the Commonwealth's public research university system. Along with the innovative approach and ongoing beautiful transformation of the campus, construction was aggressively scheduled to meet student demand and was done on time and within budget. Despite many complexities inherent on the Boston campus, construction was completed in less than 21 months through careful management. We are indebted to the project team led by Capstone Development Partners. They assembled a talented team including renowned architect Elkis Manfredi and the construction firm of Sharma Construction. I also want to recognize the staffs of the UMass Building Authority led by Tricia Philippone and UMass Boston, now being led by our wonderful Chancellor Katherine Newman, for their dedicated focus and effort to deliver the Boston campus's first residence halls that's transforming this city's public university. Not only have we achieved these demanding financial and construction objectives, but we have done so while upholding the cornerstone of this great campus, the spirit of inclusion and diversity. Even with the immense effort of the project, or by the project team and their partners, none of this is possible without great leadership. A sincere thank you goes out to the Board of Trustees Chairman Rob Manning, UMass President Marty Meehan, Governor Charlie Baker, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, Secretary of Education Jim Pizer, Chancellor Katherine Newman, members of the legislature, members of the City Council, members of the federal government, because this is all one big group that makes all this happen. I also want to thank a thank you to the UMass Board of Trustees, some of whom are with me today, Robert Epstein, and Mari Paris-Jeffries, Sarah Tarig, and Mike O'Brien, who's also a UMass Building Authority member. I also want to thank the UMBA Board and the many other elected and appointed supporters to this local, state, and federal levels, without whom this never would have been constructed. As you know, this effort began many years ago, and those that came before us laid the foundation. We must recognize their efforts and appreciate that they overcame many hurdles to gain the support needed for this project to begin. Past University and UMBA Chairman Victor Woolridge, Henry Thomas, and Phil Johnson. Thank you also to the UMBA board members who worked on this as its inception, including Jeff Mullen, Frank Callahan, Chris Philbin, and Kieran Courtney. And finally, and most importantly, to the students who will call these beautiful buildings home, I welcome you to the City of Boston and the University of Massachusetts Boston community of UMass Boston Beacons. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Trustee Burns. Next, I'd like to welcome Mr. Jeff Jones, a principal in the Capstone Development and the project executive for the residence halls. Jeff led the development team and was instrumental in setting up the partnership with the university, which is a unique opportunity for the Commonwealth. Jeff? There's Jeff.
Thank you, Chancellor Newman, and I speak for the entire design, construction, and development team today, and I'm very pleased to do that. Development projects of this significance only happen when capable, motivated people and teams commit to making them happen and have the skills, the discipline, and the right process to see it through. Capstone, our company, has been developing student housing for 3 decades, mostly through public-private partnerships with universities, 42,000 beds, over $3 billion worth of this kind of project. Even though this is one of the most difficult sites that we have ever built upon, literally, this has been one of our most successful development in all of our 30 years of doing this kind of work. And these are very complex projects, as those of you know who've been through them, governed by intricate development and operating agreements. We and our university partners labor over design and construction details to meet quality standards and unforgiving deadlines. And we tailor the rooms, the living learning components you see here, and the rental rates to meet university goals and the economic means of the student residents we serve. Balancing these competing objectives is a challenge, but as you can see from the beautiful design and the quality construction around us today, and the fact, Lisa, congratulations, that this beautiful project will open at 100% occupancy, this is a P3 success story in which all involved can be proud. To their credit, and as other speakers have noted, Mayor Walsh issued the challenge, Governor Baker authorized the P3 method of delivery, and then UMBA and UMass Boston selected the team they felt could best deliver this project. And then our public and private teams rolled up our sleeves in a highly collaborative process to make this happen. Time does not allow me to thank all of the individuals who were responsible for this successful endeavor. But I want to recognize two of my capstone colleagues, William Davis and David Morrissey, our development and construction managers. And our architect, Elkis Manfredi. Please raise your hand or stand up, those of you with Elkis Manfredi. And Shawmut Design and Construction, our remarkable contractor, who are responsible for an on-time, within-budget delivery, and importantly, meeting our collectively established standards of quality, sustainability, and affordability for students. I want to thank all at UMBA, including and particularly Tricia Philippon and UMass Boston, for putting your faith and trust in Capstone and our team and for selecting us for this seminal development. You and Provident Resources Group have been great partners. Some who contributed mightily to this effort are no longer with the university, but their vision, passion, and contributions to this first residential community on this campus and this first P3 project in Massachusetts will be far-reaching, bringing a new 24/7 vitality to this university. And I want to particularly remember Ellen O'Connor and her leadership for the university during this endeavor. She was a great partner. And kudos to the university and Capstone on-campus management teams for pre-leasing this community to 100%, even with the campus looking like a construction zone for the last 2 years or more. When we embarked upon this endeavor as partners, there were doubters. I think it is fair to say that we have exceeded expectations, and I want all to understand our congratulations, the entire UMass family, on the delivery and opening of this truly transformational project. Thank you so much.
Well, last but definitely not least, you need to hear from a student, from one of the people that this was built for. And so I am very pleased to introduce to you Bela Mir, one of our new resident assistants. Bela? Bela is a senior biology major on the pre-med track with a psychology minor. She's been active in the Office of Student Leadership and Community Engagement. She has led alternative spring break trips and participated in the First Year Leadership Institute, and now she is one of the proud inaugural residents of this building. Bela, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chancellor Newman. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bela Mir, and I am so excited and grateful to be part of the first group of resident assistants here at UMass Boston. Woo! Yeah! I've heard that students were instrumental on advocating for on-campus housing options here at UMass, so I'm very honored to be able to share my thoughts on behalf of current and past students. First off, I would like to thank everyone for coming to our campus on this beautiful day to celebrate a historical event for UMass Boston. And on behalf of the students, I want to thank everyone who contributed their hard work, time, and effort to make this day possible. None of this would be possible without the visions of the staff, who have been working so long on creating not only residence halls, but a wonderful united community here. I'd also love to give a special shout out to my fellow RAs. Woo! Training has been incredibly hectic, and we've got a long road ahead of us this week, but I believe that each and every one of us has a place here to lead us into the next era that is UMass Boston. Many people have asked me why I wanted to be an RA. For me, I believe that as a senior, I have a lot of knowledge and experience here in this community and at UMass Boston, and my experience through my involvement has made me fall in love with this campus and its community. And I would love to share my knowledge and experience with the students who will be living on our campus to make sure that their journey is nothing but extraordinary at this world-class institution. I also want to provide guidance in any way to ease the hard transition that is high school to college. Everyone has different experiences, and being able to ease some of the anxiety that is surrounded around college is something I look forward to. I want UMass Boston to be a home for each resident where they feel welcomed and loved. This should be a place that is a diverse community. Ooh, lost my place. This is a place that is a diverse community that enhances our entire campus. I want everyone to feel like UMass Boston is their home. A home where they can grow and become leaders, a place that excites them about the college experience, learning, and being a UMass Boston beacon that will shape and impact their time as students and future alums. As a student, of course, I'm incredibly excited for our residence halls here as an RA, and I also want to see how it enhances the entire UMass Boston community. As a commuter school, community has been a challenge for our campus. But with these residence halls, there's a new opportunity for students to connect to this campus, its resources, its unique spirit, and its potential to transform lives. It offers us the chance for more enthusiasm surrounding UMass Boston and to lay a strong foundation for the beginning of so many beacons. The opening of these buildings in this community, which is welcome to all students here at UMass, gives us a chance to provide a place that starts and ends with the students. The last 54 years on our campus history is evidence that our campus is ever changing, but in the most positive of ways. And not only is this shown by this ribbon cutting ceremony today, but also there are less dirt piles at Columbia Point, am I right? As UMass Boston adjusts and adapts to these changes, we should stay positive and keep the students at the center of our lives and any issues that we encounter. We can do this together, and we should remember that we're all in this together for a brighter future at UMass Boston. We can do it if we're UMass Boston united, and we should remember that just because we're a little late to the residential community game doesn't mean we can't have an amazing experience for our UMass Boston residents and non-residents. Thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
All right, the moment you've been waiting for, the ribbon cutting. Where is the ribbon anyway? I don't even know. There it is. I need all of my colleagues, trustees, the mayor, Marty, Jim, anybody who wants to join us. Let's come and cut this ribbon. All right? Smile for the camera.